In the quiet stillness of the night, let us embark on a gentle journey back in time to an era where the clang of swords and the rustle of chainmail were the symphony of the day. We invite you to settle into your comfortable space, perhaps already feeling the soft embrace of slumber coaxing you to drift away. Before we delve into the world of medieval knights, we kindly ask you to share where you are listening from and what time it is. If our stories help ease your way into dreams, consider subscribing so we may accompany you on many more evenings. Our tale begins in a world quite unlike our own, yet one that laid the groundwork for many of the codes of honor and chivalry that still underpin our societies today. A medieval knight was more than just a warrior clad in shining armor. He was an embodiment of ideals, a living testament to a life of discipline, service, and sometimes quiet introspection. The journey to knighthood was not a mere matter of birthright, but a long and rigorous path of training, learning, and personal growth. In this quiet introduction, let us ponder the essence of what it meant to be a knight. It was a life dedicated to the service of others, to the protection of the weak, and to the pursuit of a noble ideal. As we explore further, we will see how these young boys were molded into the knights of legend, their stories interwoven with the history of an age that shaped the foundations of our modern world. So, dear listener, as you feel the gentle pull of sleep, know that our journey has only just begun. We will continue to walk through the corridors of time, exploring the intricate tapestry of a knight's life. May these reflections bring you peace and curiosity, guiding you softly into the realm of dreams, where perhaps you too will wander the halls of history, a quiet observer of a world both distant and familiar. In the gentle glow of a medieval dawn, a young page-to-be opened his eyes to a world both familiar and wonderfully mysterious. It was a world defined by its rhythms of the land, the seasons, and the unyielding march of time measured by the sun's journey across the sky. In this world, lives were woven into the fabric of a society that was structured yet fluid, where the roles were clear, but the paths to fulfillment were uniquely personal. Imagine, if you will, the landscape of medieval Europe, with its sprawling manors and castles punctuating the verdant countryside. It was a time when the air was filled with the scent of freshly tilled earth and the distant calls of animals tended by villagers who lived close to the land. The medieval society was a complex tapestry of lords and ladies, knights and peasants, a realm where every individual had a place and a purpose, and where the concept of duty was deeply ingrained in the consciousness of all. For a young boy born into a noble family, his journey towards knighthood would begin at a tender age, often as young as 7 or 8. This was the age when he would leave the comfort of his home, embarking on a path that would shape his character, his skills, and his understanding of the world. This path began with the role of a page, a position that laid the groundwork for all that would follow. The societal structure of the time was like a vast living organism, each level supporting the others in a delicate balance. At the top sat the monarchs, rulers by divine right and lineage, whose word was law. Below them, the nobility, including dukes and barons, held vast tracts of land in exchange for loyalty and military service. It was from this class that most knights were drawn, their role not only as warriors but as symbols of chivalric ideals. The landscape of power and influence was mirrored in the physical geography of the time. Castles were both homes and fortresses, their stone walls standing resolute against the backdrop of rolling hills and dense forests. Within these walls, the young page would find his new world, a microcosm of medieval life where he would learn the values that would guide him as he grew. In the medieval village, life was simpler, yet it thrummed with its own vitality. Here, peasants toiled from dawn till dusk, their labor the backbone of the feudal system. They worked the land and tended the livestock, their lives deeply connected to the rhythms of nature. These villages were the heart of medieval economies, providing the sustenance necessary for the entire social structure. The pages would observe these dynamics from their positions within noble households, learning the importance of each cog in the machine. They would learn that a knight's duty was not just to fight, but to protect these very people, to uphold the peace and prosperity of the land. This understanding of interconnectedness would be a fundamental lesson in their education. The spiritual life of the time was equally important, with the church playing a central role. Its teachings permeated every aspect of life, offering both solace and structure. The young page would attend Mass regularly, absorbing the moral and ethical teachings that would inform his sense of right and wrong. The church was a powerful institution, its influence extending from the grandest cathedral to the humblest chapel. It was a source of learning and a custodian of knowledge, holding a library of texts that connected the medieval mind to the ancient world. In this era, the concept of chivalry began to crystallize, a code of conduct that would become synonymous with knighthood. Chivalry was more than just a set of rules. It was an ethos that encompassed bravery, courtesy, honor, and gallantry towards women. For the young page, these ideals were not just lessons to be memorized, they were virtues to be lived, woven into the very fabric of his upbringing. Life in the medieval world was not without its challenges. It was a time of uncertainty, where conflicts could arise unexpectedly, and the stability of one's life could be upended by war or famine. Yet it was precisely these challenges that shaped the resilience and fortitude of those who lived through them. Pages would learn to navigate these uncertainties with a steady heart, preparing them for the trials they might face as knights. The education of a page was holistic, encompassing not only martial skills, but also the arts and sciences of the time. They would learn to read and write, to appreciate music and literature, and to understand the principles of governance and stewardship. This broad education was designed to create well-rounded individuals, capable of both leading in battle and ruling with wisdom. As we explore the world into which a young page was born, we see a society rich in tradition and expectation, a living history that offered both security and the promise of adventure. It was a world where the past and the future were ever present, where the old ways provided a foundation upon which new stories could be built. In this setting, the young page would begin his journey, a journey not only of skill and strength, but of understanding and empathy. It was a journey that would require him to look beyond himself, to see his place within the grand tapestry of life, and to embrace the responsibilities of the role he was to inherit. This was the world a young page was born into, a world waiting, as ever, to be explored. In the quiet embrace of the medieval landscape, a young boy stands at the threshold of his family's modest holdings, where the familiar comforts of home and hearth prepare to become cherished memories. The morning air is crisp, carrying with it the distant calls of awakening birds and the scent of dew-laden earth. It is a moment of transition, a delicate pause between the innocence of youth and the responsibilities that lie ahead, as the first steps towards knighthood await. Our young page, perhaps no older than 7 or 8 years, is about to leave the sanctuary of his childhood. This departure is not merely a journey of physical distance, it is a passage into a new world of service and learning. His destination is the household of a noble lord, where his education as a knight will properly begin. The prospect of this new life is both daunting and exhilarating, filled with the promise of adventure and the weight of expectation. As he stands at the edge of his family's land, one can imagine the mixture of emotions that fill his heart. There is a sense of pride in the opportunity that lies ahead, a chance to elevate his family's standing through honorable service and the acquisition of skills befitting a knight. Yet, intertwined with this pride is the gentle tug of anxiety, for leaving home is never easy, especially at such a tender age. The young page carries with him only a few belongings, each item carefully chosen by his parents: a simple tunic, a pair of sturdy boots, and a small pouch, perhaps containing a keepsake or a token of familial affection. These possessions, though modest, are imbued with the love and hopes of his family, tangible links to a world he will now observe from afar. As he begins his journey, perhaps accompanied by a trusted family retainer or an older sibling, the landscape unfolds gently around him. Rolling fields give way to dense woodlands, and the path winds through villages where the rhythmic sounds of daily life echo faintly in the air. This is a world both vast and intimate, where each step taken is a step deeper into the tapestry of medieval life. Arriving at the noble estate, the young page is greeted by a scene both bustling and orderly. The manor house, sturdy and fortified, stands as the centerpiece of this small universe. Around it, the activities of the day unfold. Servants attend to their chores, craftsmen busy themselves with their trades, and the lord's retainers move with purpose and discipline. It is a place where the rhythms of daily life are interwoven with the noble pursuits of chivalry and honorable conduct. The transition from the familiarity of home to the structured environment of a noble household is profound. Here, the young page is no longer a child of his parents, but a servant to the lord and lady, subject to their rules and expectations. This is the first lesson in service, a fundamental aspect of the path to knighthood. It is a lesson in humility and duty, teaching that true leadership is rooted in the willingness to serve others. As he acclimates to this new environment, the young page finds himself part of a larger family, one bound together not by blood but by shared purpose. The other children, each at different stages of their own training, become companions and mentors, offering guidance and friendship amidst the rigors of their daily routines. These bonds, forged through shared experience, will become as strong as any familial tie, creating a network of support that will sustain him through the challenges ahead. The days begin early, with the first light of dawn signaling the start of duties. The young page learns to navigate the corridors of the manor, each room and hallway a microcosm of medieval life. The heart of the household beats steadily, a place where the page will observe the art of governance and the subtle intricacies of courtly life. Here he will begin to understand the responsibilities of leadership, witnessing firsthand how a noble lord manages both land and people. This period of adjustment is marked by an awakening of the senses. The young page becomes attuned to the sounds of the manor, the clatter of hooves in the courtyard, the murmur of conversations in the great hall, the distant clang of metal in the smithy. Each sound is a reminder of the world he is now a part of, a world where the ideals of knighthood are woven into the very fabric of daily existence. In these early days, the young page also learns to observe the subtleties of human interaction. He watches as the lord receives visitors, noting the formalities and courtesies that underpin each encounter. These observations form the foundation of his understanding of honor and chivalry, teaching him that the path to knighthood is as much about character as it is about skill. And so, the young page begins his journey in earnest, embracing the challenges and opportunities that lie before him. Each day is a step forward, a step towards a future defined by service and honor. In the quiet moments, as he reflects on the path he has chosen, he carries with him the warmth of his family's love and the knowledge that this journey, though arduous, is one of great purpose and promise. As the sun sets over the manor, casting long shadows across the courtyard, the young page finds solace in the familiarity of routine and the promise of what lies ahead. Though far from home, he is not alone. He is part of a tradition that stretches back through the ages, a tradition that will shape him into the knight he aspires to become. In this new world, he begins to forge his own story, one that will be written with the ink of courage, discipline, and the unwavering pursuit of honor. In the gentle corridors of a medieval castle, there was a rhythm to daily life that was as intricate as the tapestries that adorned its walls. These woven scenes told tales of chivalrous deeds, and there, among the flickering candlelight and the scent of beeswax, a young page began his journey into the world of nobility. This was not merely an education in the clangor of swords or the weight of armor, but rather an immersion into a world governed by a code of conduct that defined the essence of knighthood itself. The foundational lessons in manners and etiquette were, for the medieval page, as essential as learning to wield a weapon. Courtesy was not merely a set of rules, but a philosophy of living that permeated every interaction. It was a subtle dance of gestures and words designed to express respect and maintain harmony within the noble household. Imagine, if you will, a young boy standing awkwardly in an echoing hall, his eyes wide with a mixture of awe and trepidation. He is surrounded by the grandeur of the castle and the imposing figures of knights and ladies. His initial task is simple yet profound, to learn the art of deference. With a slight bow of the head and a gentle lowering of the eyes, he acknowledges those above him in stature and rank. These gestures are small but carry the weight of centuries of tradition. In a world where lineage and status often dictated one's path, understanding one's place was paramount. The young page learned to listen before speaking, to observe before acting. This was not a suppression of his youthful spirit, but a honing of it. In these early lessons, he discovered the power of silence and the wisdom it could bring. The quiet moments spent listening to the conversations around him were invaluable, providing insights into the subtle intricacies of courtly life. The language of courtesy extended beyond human interaction. It was reflected in the way one moved through spaces, careful not to disrupt the harmony of the environment. Doors were opened with a gentle hand, and chairs were approached with a deliberate grace. The page learned that each action, no matter how minor, contributed to the collective atmosphere of the household. At the heart of these lessons was the understanding that courtesy was a reflection of one's inner self. A page was taught that to be truly courteous, one must cultivate a sense of humility and empathy. This was a time before the word empathies existed in its modern form, yet the concept was alive in the teachings of the day. To consider the feelings and perspectives of others was to walk the path of true nobility. These lessons were not imparted through stern lectures, but through gentle guidance and the power of example. The young page observed the seasoned knights and esteemed ladies of the castle, noting how they moved through their days with an air of quiet dignity. In their actions, he saw how courtesy could diffuse tension, bridge divides, and foster a sense of belonging. A significant part of this education was the mastery of language. The page was introduced to the art of conversation, where words were chosen as carefully as a knight selects his weapon. He learned that speech could be a tool for both diplomacy and friendship. Compliments were given with sincerity, apologies were offered with genuine contrition, and thanks were expressed with heartfelt gratitude. In the tapestry of courtly life, there were moments of structured formality, such as the grand dining occasions, where the page was expected to assist. Here, he learned the choreography of a noble meal, from the correct placement of dishes to the subtle signals exchanged between diners that dictated the flow of conversation. Every movement was a step in a dance that had been performed for generations. Yet, alongside these formalities, there were times of leisure and play where the page could witness the lighter side of courtesy. Games and entertainment provided opportunities to practice wit and humor, to learn when to jest and when to remain respectfully silent. It was in these moments that the young page learned the value of balance, between seriousness and lightheartedness, between reverence and camaraderie. As the days passed and the lessons took root, the young page began to embody the courtesy he had been taught. It became a natural extension of his being, a quiet strength that would serve him well in his journey through life. For, in the end, these early lessons in courtesy and conduct were not merely about adhering to a set of rules. They were about shaping a character, cultivating a spirit that would endure through the challenges and triumphs of the years to come. In this way, the medieval page was gently ushered into the complex world of knighthood, not only through physical prowess, but through the cultivation of a noble heart. And so, with each courteous gesture and respectful word, he took another step on the path to becoming a knight, in a world where the quiet strength of courtesy remained a guiding light. In the quiet corridors of a noble household, where sunlight gently filters through tall, narrow windows, the daily life of a page unfolds like a tapestry woven with both duty and discovery. This chapter of life is not merely a series of tasks, but an immersion into the rhythms of a world steeped in history and expectation. Here, the young page learns that every day is an opportunity to contribute to the household while absorbing lessons that will shape his future. Awakening in the stillness of early morning, the page rises before the sun has fully stretched its golden fingers across the sky. The first task is simple yet significant, ensuring the cleanliness and order of his sleeping quarters. This humble space, though modest, reflects the beginnings of personal responsibility and respect for one's environment. Such attention to detail, even in the smallest of tasks, nurtures a sense of discipline that will prove vital in the years to come. As he moves through the halls, the page encounters the soft murmur of the household beginning to stir. The kitchens, alive with the sounds of preparation, offer a symphony of gentle clatter and the inviting aroma of baking bread. Here, the page might assist in gathering fresh herbs from the garden or carrying wood to stoke the fires. These tasks, seemingly mundane, are integral to the smooth operation of the household, teaching the page the value of diligence and teamwork. Breakfast, a communal affair, is a moment of shared sustenance and connection. Seated among his peers and superiors, the page listens intently to the conversations at the table, absorbing the nuances of social interaction and the importance of attentive silence. This is a time not only to nourish the body, but also to observe the dynamics of courtly conduct, where words are chosen as carefully as the finest cutlery. After breakfast, the page returns to his responsibilities, which are as varied as the colors of a medieval tapestry. He may be tasked with maintaining the armory, polishing the gleaming metal, and ensuring that each piece is in its rightful place. Such work is more than physical. It is a lesson in history and craftsmanship, as every dent and scratch tells a story of past battles and the enduring spirit of those who wore the armor. The library, a treasure trove of parchment and ink, offers another realm of discovery. Here, the page might be asked to fetch a manuscript or assist the steward in cataloging the household's collection. This exposure to literature and learning broadens the young page's horizons, fostering a curiosity that reaches beyond the confines of the castle walls. In the afternoons, the page often finds himself in the company of the household's younger members, serving as a companion and assistant in their lessons. This role requires patience and empathy, qualities that the page is encouraged to cultivate. Whether supervising a game of chess or aiding in a lesson of Latin, the page learns that leadership begins with understanding and kindness. As the day progresses, the page's duties might take him outdoors, where the gardens and stables offer their own lessons. In the garden, the page learns to appreciate the cycles of nature, understanding that growth and decay are part of the same continuum. Meanwhile, in the stables, the page becomes familiar with the care of horses, recognizing the bond between man and beast that is essential to the life of a knight. As evening descends, the household gathers once more for the evening meal, a time of reflection and camaraderie. The page, having completed his tasks, sits with a sense of quiet satisfaction, knowing that his contributions, though small, are valued. The conversations at dinner weave tales of the day's events and the shared hopes for the future, creating a tapestry of community and belonging. When the meal concludes, the page assists in clearing the table, ensuring everything is in readiness for the following day. This final act of service, performed in the soft glow of candlelight, is a reminder of the interconnectedness of the household, where each member plays a vital role in the greater whole. As the day draws to a close, the page retires to his quarters, where the tranquility of the evening envelops him. In the silence, he reflects on the day's lessons, each moment a thread in the fabric of his growing understanding. The life of a page is one of constant learning, where every duty is an opportunity to grow, to serve, and to become. Thus, the daily life of a page in a noble household is a journey of quiet humility and steadfast dedication, a gentle but profound preparation for the path that lies ahead. In the gentle embrace of dawn, when the world still held its breath in anticipation of the day, young pages would rise from their slumber, casting aside the warmth of their straw-filled pallets. The light was soft and forgiving, the edges of the world blurred in the morning mist. It was in these early hours that the foundations of a future knight's physical prowess were laid, as they embarked on their first lessons in the art of riding, running, and building strength. Riding, for any aspiring knight, was not merely a skill, but an essential part of their very being. The horse, noble and steadfast, became more than a mount. It was a partner, a trusted companion in both peace and conflict. The young pages, small and eager, would first approach these majestic creatures with a mix of trepidation and wonder. Their initial encounters were lessons in patience and respect, as they learned to communicate with their steeds through gentle gestures and soothing words. Imagine a young page, perhaps no more than 10 years of age, standing beside a horse that towered above him. The horse's breath visible in the cool morning air, the page would extend a hand, offering an apple or a sugar cube, forming the first bond of trust. Gradually, under the watchful eye of seasoned stable masters, the page would learn to mount and sit astride the horse, feeling the powerful muscles shift beneath them. In these early lessons, the page would be taught not just to ride, but to listen to the subtle language of the horse. Each flick of an ear, each swish of a tail carried meaning. Riding was an exercise in balance and harmony, of moving as one with the animal rather than imposing one's will upon it. The rhythm of the horse's hooves became a meditative cadence, a lullaby of movement that instilled in the page a profound sense of unity with nature. Beyond riding, the physical training of a page included running, an activity that required no equipment but demanded much in terms of endurance and will. Running through open fields and woodland paths, the pages would learn to navigate the varied terrain with agility and speed. This was not just a test of physical prowess, but a lesson in perseverance, in pushing through the burn of muscles and the ache of lungs to reach a distant goal. Running taught the pages about themselves, about their own limits and the possibility of surpassing them. It was a time for solitary reflection, for the rhythm of their footsteps to match the rhythm of their thoughts. In the quiet of their exertion, they found a place of inner strength, a resilience that would serve them well on the many challenges that lay ahead. Strength, too, was cultivated through a variety of exercises, both practical and playful. Stone lifting was a common activity, as pages were tasked with moving stones of increasing size from one place to another. It was a straightforward task, yet it built the muscles required for wielding a sword or lifting a shield. Each stone lifted was a testament to their growing power, each drop of sweat a step closer to their goal. The pages would also engage in wrestling, a test of both strength and strategy. In the controlled chaos of a wrestling match, they learned to anticipate their opponent's moves, to use leverage and balance to their advantage. Wrestling was a dance of sorts, an ancient art that taught the pages about the human body, both their own and that of their opponent. All these physical exercises were interwoven with lessons of humility and respect, for the true strength of a knight was not solely in their physical prowess, but in their character. The pages were reminded that might without honor was hollow, that power without purpose was meaningless. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, casting away the morning mist, the young pages would finish their training, tired yet invigorated. Each session left them a little stronger, a little more prepared for the journey ahead. They returned to the great hall, where the warmth of a meal and the camaraderie of their peers awaited them, nourished not just in body, but in spirit. In these formative years, amidst the sweat and strain, the pages began to understand the essence of a knight's life. It was not just about the battles fought or the glory won, but about the discipline and dedication required to become a protector of the realm. Through riding, running, and building strength, they laid the groundwork for a life of service, one that demanded both physical and moral fortitude. The echoes of their footsteps, the whispers of their steeds, and the quiet strength built in these early lessons would accompany them throughout their lives. The journey of a knight was long and arduous, but it was also profoundly rewarding, a testament to the power of perseverance and the indomitable spirit of those who dared to dream of knighthood. In the gentle tapestry of a medieval morning, where the dew clings to the grass as if reluctant to leave, young pages wove their days with lessons that were more subtle than they might have seemed. Among these, the art of observation held a place of quiet prominence, a skill that went beyond the mere act of seeing. To observe was to become attuned to the nuanced language of the world around them. It was a discipline of the senses, a practice in patience and perception that would lay the foundation for the many responsibilities a knight would eventually shoulder. The world of a page was vibrant with detail, and each day presented an opportunity to hone this essential skill. Imagine, if you will, a young page walking through the castle grounds. His eyes, though perhaps still innocent, were encouraged to be sharp and discerning. Under the guidance of a mentor, he would learn to notice the subtle shift in the wind, the way it might whisper of an approaching storm long before the clouds darkened the sky. Such awareness was not merely academic. It could be the difference between success and failure in the life of a knight. Observation began with the natural world, a classroom as vast as it was varied. The page would study the habits of animals, learning to predict the movements of a deer by the twitch of its ear or the tension in its muscles. This was more than an exercise in curiosity. It was a lesson in understanding the interconnectedness of life, a precursor to the strategic thinking required in battle. The art of observation extended to people as well. In the great hall, amidst the tapestry of daily life, a page might be tasked with watching the comings and goings of courtiers and visitors. He would learn to discern the unspoken language of gestures and expressions, the subtle cues that spoke volumes without uttering a single word. This skill, this reading of the room, was invaluable for navigating the complex social dynamics of the court. As the sun reached its zenith, casting long shadows that danced with the light, the page would often accompany his lord on hunts or inspections of the lands. Here, observation became a tool of survival and strategy. He would be taught to scan the horizon, to assess the terrain, to predict possible challenges or threats. Each rustle in the underbrush, each bird call, was a piece of information to be catalogued and understood. Observation also required an understanding of oneself. The young page, through reflection, would come to recognize his own responses to the world around him. Was his heart quick to race at the sound of thunder, or did the quiet of the forest bring a sense of calm? This introspection was crucial, for a knight needed to master his own fears and impulses just as much as he needed to understand the world outside. The lessons in observation were woven into the fabric of daily life, appearing in the most mundane of tasks. Whether it was polishing armor or tending to horses, each activity carried with it an opportunity to practice mindfulness. The page learned to attend to detail, recognizing that excellence was often found in the subtleties, in the careful consideration of things that might easily be overlooked. Through this practice, the pages developed a keen sense of timing and anticipation. They learned to predict the needs of their lords and to act preemptively. This was not only a matter of efficiency, but also of service, an essential component of the chivalric code they were slowly absorbing. In the quiet moments, perhaps as dusk settled over the land, a page might find himself by a window, lost in thought as he watched the interplay of light and shadow. Here, too, was a lesson in observation. The understanding that the world was ever-changing and that one must be adaptable, ready to respond to whatever came their way. This gentle cultivation of awareness was a lifelong journey, one that would serve them well on the battlefield and in the court. It was not merely a skill, but a way of being in the world, a testament to the depth and breadth of their training. As the night wrapped the castle in its embrace, a young page might drift to sleep, his mind filled with the day's impressions. The art of observation was not a skill to be mastered overnight, but a lifelong companion, guiding his journey from page to squire and eventually to the knighthood. It was a quiet, constant presence, shaping him with each passing day. In the great halls of medieval castles, where stone walls reverberated with the echoes of history, there existed a unique world of learning and entertainment for young pages. Here, amidst the flickering glow of candlelight, stories and songs played a pivotal role in shaping the minds of these young aspirants to knighthood. These narratives were not merely diversions, but were woven into the very fabric of the chivalric code they were destined to uphold. Imagine a young page, seated cross-legged on the cold stone floor, eyes wide with wonder as a troubadour strums a lute. The gentle notes fill the air, carrying tales of heroism, honor, and sacrifice. The stories told were often of legendary knights who displayed unwavering courage and unfaltering loyalty. These tales were more than just entertainment. They were lessons in ethics, quietly and effectively imparted through music and spoken word. In the medieval world, where literacy was not widespread, oral tradition held great significance. Storytellers, or troubadours, were esteemed for their ability to convey complex moral lessons through the simplicity of a narrative. Their tales were imbued with the values that would guide a young page on his journey to knighthood. Through these stories, pages learned of the virtues they were to embody: bravery, courtesy, honor, and an unyielding sense of justice. Songs, too, played a crucial role. Ballads celebrated the deeds of noble knights who had gone before, their lyrics extolling the virtues of valor and honorable conduct. The melodies lingered in the minds of the young, serving as a gentle reminder of the ideals they were expected to uphold. These musical interludes were not just for the ears, but resonated deep within the heart, stirring a desire to emulate the heroes of old. One might consider the tale of Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, a story rich in chivalric ideals. As the narrative unfolds, Sir Gawain's journey is not just a physical quest, but a moral one. His trials teach the importance of integrity and humility, offering valuable lessons to the young listeners. The Green Knight himself, a formidable figure, embodies the tests that one must face to prove their worth. Through such stories, young pages were introduced to the concept of the chivalric quest, both in the literal and metaphorical sense. These tales often contained allegorical elements, where characters and events symbolized deeper moral truths. It was through deciphering these allegories that young minds were challenged to think critically about the nature of right and wrong. The ability to discern the underlying message of a story was a skill that would serve them well in their future roles as knights, where judgment and discernment were as critical as strength and skill. In the shadowy corners of the great hall, the young pages would whisper among themselves, sharing their interpretations of the stories. Each tale sparked debates and discussions, fostering a sense of camaraderie and mutual learning. In this way, storytelling became a communal experience, binding the young pages together in their shared pursuit of honor and nobility. The ethics of chivalry, as imparted through stories and songs, were not just abstract ideals, but were meant to be lived. The narratives provided concrete examples of how knights were expected to conduct themselves both on and off the battlefield. They taught the importance of respecting one's opponents, showing mercy to the defeated, and upholding the dignity of all, regardless of station. Through these tales, young pages also learned about the consequences of failing to adhere to the chivalric code. The stories of knights who fell from grace due to pride or betrayal served as cautionary tales, illustrating the perils of straying from the path of honor. These narratives reinforced the understanding that the chivalric code was not just a set of rules, but a way of life that required constant vigilance and adherence. In the gentle glow of the hearth, the voices of the troubadours would eventually fade, replaced by the soft murmur of the pages as they drifted into sleep. Yet, the stories and songs lingered in their minds, shaping their dreams and aspirations. As they lay beneath the vaulted ceilings of the castle, the ideals of chivalry took root in their hearts, guiding them on their journey from page to knight. In this timeless tradition of storytelling, the young pages learned that being a knight was not merely about wielding a sword, but about embodying the virtues of courage, honor, and integrity. The stories and songs of the medieval era thus served as a gentle yet profound introduction to the ethics of chivalry, laying the foundation for a life dedicated to service and honor. As the candlelight flickered and the stars watched over the sleeping pages, the seeds of chivalry were quietly sown, ready to blossom in the years to come. In the quiet corridors of a medieval castle, where the air is thick with the scent of history and echoes of past footsteps, a young page stands at the threshold of a significant transformation. This moment is marked not by grand ceremonies or loud proclamations, but by a subtle shift in roles and responsibilities. It is the transition from page to squire, a pivotal chapter in the life of one destined to become a knight. The journey from page to squire is one that begins with a quiet promise, a promise of growth, of learning, and of deeper immersion into the world of chivalry. As a page, the young trainee has spent years absorbing the foundational elements of knighthood. But now, the path ahead beckons with new challenges and the opportunity to serve more directly under the guidance of a seasoned knight. It is a calling that requires both courage and humility, for the role of a squire is one of service and devotion. In this new role, the young squire steps closer to the heart of the knightly way. The days of running errands and observing from a distance are now complemented by a more personal, hands-on apprenticeship. It is as if the squire is moving from the audience to the stage, no longer a mere observer of the intricate dance of knighthood, but a participant learning each step with care and precision. This transition is not simply a change in title, but a rite of passage marked by increased duties and expectations. The young squire is called to assist the knight in all aspects of life, from the battlefield to the courtly hall. In doing so, the squire develops a deeper understanding of the knight's dual role as both warrior and diplomat. It is a time of learning by doing, where the lessons of the past are applied in the dynamic theater of medieval life. The bond between squire and knight is one of mutual respect and shared purpose. The knight becomes a mentor, guiding the squire through the complexities of knighthood with patience and wisdom. In turn, the squire supports the knight, attending to armor and weapons, and ensuring that all is in readiness for the demands of the day. This relationship is built on trust and the shared commitment to uphold the ideals of chivalry. As a squire, the young trainee is also entrusted with greater personal responsibility. There is a newfound independence in this role, as the squire must learn to manage time and tasks effectively. It is a delicate balance between serving the knight and pursuing one's own training, a balance that requires discipline and foresight. Yet within this challenge lies the opportunity for growth, as the squire learns to navigate the complexities of knighthood with increasing confidence. In the quiet moments between duties, the squire reflects on the path taken thus far. There is a sense of pride in having reached this milestone, a recognition of the hard work and dedication that have paved the way. Yet there is also an awareness of the journey still to come, a journey that requires continued perseverance and an unwavering commitment to the ideals of knighthood. The transition from page to squire is marked by both continuity and change. The squire carries forward the lessons learned as a page, while embracing the new challenges and responsibilities of this advanced role. It is a time of profound personal development, where the young trainee begins to forge an identity as a future knight, grounded in the principles of honor, courage, and service. As the squire settles into this new role, there is a growing sense of belonging within the knightly community. The camaraderie among fellow squires and knights offers support and encouragement, creating an environment where learning and growth are nurtured. It is a reminder that the journey to knighthood is not undertaken alone, but as part of a larger tapestry of shared experiences and collective wisdom. Through this transition, the young squire begins to see the world through the eyes of a knight, gaining insights into the responsibilities and privileges that come with this esteemed title. It is a gradual awakening to the realities of leadership and service, a preparation for the day when the squire will take on the mantle of knighthood in full. In the gentle unfolding of this new chapter, the squire finds a sense of purpose and direction. The path ahead is illuminated by the guiding light of tradition and the enduring ideals of chivalry. It is a path marked by both challenges and triumphs, a journey that shapes the young squire's character and prepares them for the noble calling of knighthood. As the days turn into months and the seasons change, the squire grows into this role with grace and determination. Each day brings new opportunities to learn and to serve, each moment a step closer to the ultimate goal. It is a journey that requires patience and perseverance, but one that is rich with the promise of transformation and fulfillment. In this quiet evolution from page to squire, the young trainee embarks on a path that is both demanding and rewarding. It is a path that leads to a deeper understanding of the knightly way and a closer connection to the timeless ideals of honor, courage, and service. And as the squire continues this journey, there is a quiet confidence that the future holds great promise and the hope of fulfilling the noble dream of becoming a knight. In the gentle stillness of a medieval night, where the air is occasionally pierced by the distant call of an owl or the rustle of leaves, we find ourselves in the quiet company of a young squire. This young man, on the brink of knighthood, is engrossed in his knightly duties. The hearths are dimming, and the echoes of the day's activities are slowly hushed into silence, leaving room for reflections and learning through the subtler art of watching. The role of a squire is, at its heart, one of service and observation. By closely attending to the needs of an experienced knight, the squire learns not just through instruction, but through the silent language of action and routine. Each task, though seemingly mundane, is imbued with purpose and potential for understanding. From polishing the knight's armor to caring for his steed, every act is a step towards understanding the profound discipline required of a knight. The daily rituals begin at dawn, as the squire gently rises with the first light. He tends to the needs of the knight's armor, ensuring it is polished to a gleaming finish. This task, while repetitive, is a practice in patience and attention to detail. The squire learns to see the armor not just as a protective shell, but as a symbol of the knight's honor and status. He observes how each dent and scratch tells a story of past battles, a narrative written in steel. As the day unfolds, the squire's duties shift towards the care of the knight's horse. The bond between a knight and his steed is sacred, and so, with reverence, the squire grooms and feeds the horse, learning the importance of trust and partnership. In the quiet moments spent with the animal, the squire observes the subtle communication between knight and horse, an unspoken understanding that is as vital on the battlefield as the sword itself. Throughout the day, the squire is ever at the knight's side, ready to assist, to listen, and to learn. Each meal shared in the Great Hall is an opportunity to observe the knight's conduct. The knight's demeanor at the table, his courtesy, his restraint, even his choice of words, teaches the squire the nuances of courtly manners and the delicate dance of diplomacy. It is here, amidst the clatter of cutlery and the murmur of conversation, that the squire learns the knight's role extends beyond the battlefield to the realm of leadership and influence. In the practice yard, the squire's role shifts from observer to participant, yet even here, the lessons in watching are invaluable. By observing the knight's form and technique, the squire begins to understand the fluidity and precision required in combat. Every swing of the sword, every adjustment of stance offers insight into the mastery the squire aspires to attain. The knight's calm focus and unwavering discipline in practice serve as a living example of the mindset required for success. But it is not only the knight's prowess in arms that the squire is meant to emulate. The knight's interactions with others, his decisions, and his responses to challenges all provide lessons in character. The squire observes how the knight addresses conflicts, noticing the balance of strength and empathy, of firmness and fairness. These observations, subtle as the rustle of leaves, plant the seeds of wisdom and ethics within the young squire's mind. As dusk settles and the day's activities draw to a close, the squire prepares for the evening's duties. He assists the knight in removing his armor, a ritual of unwinding from the day's exertions. This task, intimate and routine, allows the squire to reflect on the day's observations, to internalize the lessons learned through quiet contemplation. In the privacy of the knight's quarters, the squire witnesses moments of vulnerability and humanity, understanding that beneath the armor, the knight is but a man driven by duty, honor, and the same aspirations that fuel the squire's own journey. The night deepens, and with it, the squire's understanding grows. In the silence, he contemplates the role he is destined to fulfill. Through serving and observing, the squire learns that being a knight is not solely about wielding a sword or donning armor. It is about embodying a code of conduct, a set of values that guide actions and decisions. It is about being a beacon of integrity and strength, both on and off the battlefield. In serving his knight, the squire learns the essence of knighthood lies in the harmonious blend of action and reflection, of strength and wisdom. These lessons, learned through the quiet art of observation, are the foundation upon which his future as a knight will be built. And as the fire in the hearth dims to embers, the squire retires to his own rest, carrying with him the day's learnings, like precious relics to be treasured and nurtured in the heart. In the gentle embrace of dawn, when the morning mist still clings to the grass like a soft, silken veil, the practice yard comes to life. It is a world unto itself, a realm of quiet determination and disciplined repetition. Here young squires and pages gather, their breath visible in the chill air, as they prepare to hone the skills that will one day define them as knights. The yard, delineated by simple wooden markers, is a patchwork of flattened earth and trodden grass, each step tracing a path of tradition and expectation. It is a place where the echoes of clashing steel and the soft thud of shield meeting sword become a familiar symphony. It is here that the young learn to wield the weapons that are both tools and symbols of their future roles. Our focus on this tranquil morning is the sword, a blade that is both revered and feared. In the hands of a knight, it is an extension of will, a partner in the dance of combat. The sword is not merely a weapon, it is a study in balance and precision, a testament to the harmony between form and function. As the young squire stands poised, their grip firm yet flexible, They learn to respect the power they hold. The sword, they are taught, is not for wanton destruction, but for defense and honor. The practice begins slowly, almost meditative, as the squire is guided through a series of motions designed to instill muscle memory. Each movement, whether a simple cut or a defensive parry, is dissected with the care of a craftsman. The weight of the sword, its balance, and the way it arcs through the air must become as familiar as one's own hand. As the squire swings the blade, they are encouraged to feel its momentum, to understand the subtle shift of balance as steel meets resistance. Equally important is the shield, a companion to the sword in the dance of combat. It is both a barrier and a platform, offering protection while allowing for strategic offense. In the practice yard, the young are taught to view their shield as an extension of their own body. It is not a static object to hide behind, but a dynamic tool that, when used properly, can dictate the flow of a skirmish. The shield's edge can deflect a blow, its face can absorb impact, and its weight can be used to unbalance an opponent. In the quiet rhythm of the yard, the young squire learns the art of stance. It is the foundation upon which all else is built, a stance that provides stability, mobility, and readiness. With feet planted firmly yet agilely, the squire must find the delicate balance between being grounded and being ready to move. The stance is as much about mental readiness as it is about physical position, a preparation to react and adapt to the ever-changing demands of combat. The practice yard is more than a place of physical training, it is a space for mental discipline. Each session is a lesson in patience, as skills are honed not in haste, but through deliberate, repetitive practice. The squire learns to quiet the mind, to focus not on the outcome but on the moment, each swing of the sword and each shift of the shield a step towards mastery. As the sun climbs higher, casting long shadows over the yard, the tempo of training increases. The squire now pairs with a partner, their blades meeting in a controlled dance. Here, they learn to anticipate, to read their opponent's intentions through subtle shifts in posture and gaze. It is a lesson in empathy as much as it is in combat, understanding that every movement is a conversation, a dialogue between two wills. The practice yard is a place of camaraderie, where friendships are forged in the shared pursuit of skill and honor. As the young squires train side by side, they learn as much from one another as from their instructors. Each mistake becomes a shared lesson, each success a collective triumph. In this way, the practice yard becomes a microcosm of the chivalric ideal, where respect, honor, and mutual support are as integral as the skills themselves. As the session draws to a close, the squire stands once more in silence, the sword and shield at rest. The practice yard, now quiet, serves as a reminder that the path to knighthood is as much about internal growth as it is about external prowess. The young squire departs the yard with a deeper understanding, not only of the sword and shield, but of the discipline and honor that will guide them on their journey. Thus, in the practice yard, amidst the tranquil rustle of leaves and the distant calls of morning birds, the young learn not only to fight, but to embody the virtues that define a knight. The practice yard, with its humble simplicity, becomes a sacred space, a place where the echoes of history and the promise of the future converge in the quiet pursuit of excellence. In the quiet expanse of the medieval training grounds, the air is crisp and alive with the gentle murmur of distant birds. The earth is soft underfoot, a comforting cushion for the clatter of hooves that occasionally punctuates the serene atmosphere. Here, Amidst the open fields and the whispering breeze, a young squire stands, poised with a lance in hand, ready to engage with one of the most formidable challenges of his training, the quintain. The quintain, a simple yet ingenious contraption, stands solemnly in the field. At its heart, a sturdy post rises from the ground, crowned by a horizontal arm that swivels freely with the touch of a lance. On one end of this arm hangs a shield, and on the other a weighted sack, an embodiment of balance and precision. The squire's task is deceptively straightforward. Strike the shield with enough force and accuracy to set the arm spinning, while deftly avoiding the swinging sack that seeks to unseat him. As we immerse ourselves in this scene, it's worth pondering the quiet discipline that underpins this exercise. The quintain doesn't merely test a squire's physical prowess, it also engages his mind, demanding an acute awareness of timing, rhythm, and space. Each approach to the quintain is a lesson in the art of anticipation, a dance of calculated movements and split-second decisions. With a calm determination, the squire guides his horse into a gentle trot. The lance, an extension of his arm, aligns almost naturally with his focused gaze. In these moments, he must become one with the mount beneath him, feeling the powerful muscles flexing and the steady rhythm of hooves beating against the earth. The connection between rider and horse is paramount, for it is this unity that allows the squire to wield the lance with precision and grace. As he approaches the quintain, time seems to slow, every detail etched vividly in his mind. The rustle of leaves in the nearby trees, the subtle shift of weight in his saddle, the distant chiming of a chapel bell, all blend into a singular moment of clarity. Then, with a swift thrust, the lance meets the target. The shield clatters, the arm spins, and the squire, with a deft maneuver, shifts his weight to avoid the swinging sack. Missing the sack is a matter of instinct honed through repetition. It's a study in agility, a testament to the hours spent practicing not just with the lance, but in the understanding of motion itself. This practice with the quintain is more than a mere exercise. It is a metaphor for the unpredictability of life, teaching the squire to react with calm and measured resolve. The lance, often seen as a symbol of medieval chivalry, is more than just a weapon. In the hands of a skilled squire, it becomes a tool of expression, capable of conveying strength and honor. The training process is meticulous, beginning with the understanding of its weight and balance. The wood, typically ash or hickory, is chosen for its resilience and flexibility. Over time, the squire learns to judge the subtle nuances of his weapon, understanding how a slight shift in grip can alter its trajectory. In the broader context of knightly training, the lance is an essential component, preparing the squire for the rigors of the tournament and the battlefield alike. Tournaments, often grand spectacles of skill and pageantry, served as a testing ground for these young trainees. Here, the lessons of the quintain were applied in earnest, each tilt a testament to months, if not years, of diligent practice. Yet, beyond the physical act of striking and dodging, there lies a deeper lesson embedded within this training. It is a lesson in resilience, teaching the young squire the value of persistence and the strength found in overcoming adversity. For each time he is unseated or misses the mark, he learns to rise again, to attempt once more with renewed focus and determination. As we reflect on this scene, it becomes clear that the training with the lance and the quintain is as much a journey of the spirit as it is of the body. It is a quiet meditation on the nature of skill and the pursuit of mastery. Through the rhythmic repetition of practice, the squire discovers a profound connection to his craft, finding moments of clarity and insight that transcend the physical realm. In the end, As the sun dips below the horizon and the day draws to a close, the squire dismounts, weary yet fulfilled. The training ground, now bathed in the golden glow of twilight, holds the echoes of his efforts, a silent testament to his growth. With each session, he inches closer to the ideals of knighthood, embodying the virtues of honor, courage, and grace. And so, with a quiet nod to the quintain, the squire takes his leave, carrying with him the lessons of the day, ever mindful of the journey that lies ahead. Through the gentle practice of the lance, he is reminded that true mastery is not a destination, but a continual path of learning and self-discovery. As we listen to the echoes of his training, we are invited to reflect on our own pursuits, finding solace in the knowledge that the path to mastery is a shared journey, woven through time with the threads of patience and perseverance. In the gentle embrace of the misty morning, where the sun's rays quietly filter through the canopy of ancient trees, there lies a world where the squire and his horse begin a journey of mutual understanding. This bond, forged not through words but through shared experiences, is a cornerstone of a young squire's training. In the medieval realm, the art of horsemanship is not merely a skill, but a path to a profound partnership, one where the silent communication between human and beast speaks volumes. Horses, with their powerful yet graceful presence, have long been revered by those who seek the way of the knight. They are not simply mounts but companions, sharing the burdens of travel and the triumphs of victory. The warhorse, in particular, stands as a symbol of strength and loyalty, its very nature intertwined with the identity of the knight it serves. In this world, a squire's education in horsemanship begins with an introduction to these magnificent creatures, whose spirits are as varied as the landscapes they gallop across. The first encounters between a squire and his horse are often tentative, marked by an initial wariness that soon gives way to curiosity. Here, patience becomes the squire's greatest ally as he learns to approach his steed with gentleness and respect. It is a dance of sorts where both parties move to understand the rhythm of the other. The squire learns to read the subtle cues of his horse. An ear flick, a shift of weight, a soft whinny, each gesture a part of a language that transcends spoken words. As days turn into weeks, the bond between squire and horse deepens, nurtured by routine and shared moments. The squire rises early, the air still crisp with the chill of dawn, to groom his horse, running a brush through its coat with care and attention. This ritual, simple yet profound, is where trust is built. The horse, in turn, learns to recognize the squire's voice, his touch, his presence, as comforting constants in a world that can often be unpredictable. Riding lessons begin in earnest, with the squire learning to balance atop his steed, feeling the sway of its movements beneath him. At first, it can be an awkward affair, much like a young bird learning to fly. But with time and practice, the squire grows more confident. He learns to guide his horse with the subtlest of signals, a gentle pressure of the knees, a shift in posture, a whisper of encouragement. The horse responds in kind, its powerful muscles propelling them both forward with a grace that seems almost effortless. In this partnership, the horse is not simply a beast of burden, but a teacher in its own right. It teaches the squire about the importance of trust and respect, imparting lessons in patience and resilience. The horse demands consistency and fairness, responding not to force but to understanding. This relationship, grounded in mutual respect, becomes a reflection of the values that the young squire is learning to embody: honor, loyalty, and courage. The open fields become their classroom, vast and inviting. Here, the squire learns to navigate the varied terrain, adapting to the undulating hills and the dense thickets that challenge their path. Each ride is an adventure, a new lesson in the intricacies of movement and the harmony of man and horse. The squire learns to anticipate the needs of his horse, offering it rest and water, ensuring that it is as prepared as he is for the journeys ahead. Beyond the physical training, the bond between squire and horse is nurtured through quiet moments of companionship. Under the shade of an ancient oak, the squire might sit with his horse, sharing the stillness of the afternoon. These moments, devoid of the hustle of training, allow for reflection and the strengthening of their connection. It is in these peaceful interludes that the squire truly appreciates the gift of his horse's companionship, recognizing the creature not just as a tool of war, but as a partner in the truest sense. As the bond deepens, the squire comes to understand the uniqueness of his horse's character. Each horse, much like a human, has its own temperament and quirks. Some are spirited and fiery, eager to charge into the fray, while others are calm and steady, offering a reassuring presence. The squire learns to adapt his approach, understanding that each horse requires a different touch, a different kind of patience. In time, the partnership between squire and horse becomes seamless, an unspoken understanding that requires no words. Together, they move as one, a testament to the power of trust and the beauty of cooperation. The Warhorse, with its noble bearing and indomitable spirit, becomes an extension of the squire himself, a living embodiment of the values he strives to uphold. In this quiet world of shared glances and gentle gestures, the squire learns a truth that will stay with him throughout his life, that strength is found not in domination, but in partnership. The bond between man and horse is a testament to the power of empathy and understanding, a reminder that even in a world of conflict, there is room for connections that transcend the boundaries of species. And so, as the sun sets on another day, casting long shadows across the fields, the squire and his horse stand together, silhouettes against the fading light. In their quiet companionship, they find a moment of peace, a brief respite from the demands of their world. It is in this shared silence that the squire realizes the true gift of his training, a bond that, once forged, will carry him through the trials and triumphs of the life that awaits. In the hushed corridors of history, the image of a knight clad in shining armor stands as a symbol of an era marked by both chivalry and conflict. As we take a moment to pause and gently peer into the world of medieval knighthood, we find that this gleaming armor was not merely for show. It was the product of meticulous craftsmanship and rigorous training, a testament to the discipline and dedication required of those who wore it. To begin with, the armor worn by knights was a marvel of medieval ingenuity, crafted to provide protection without entirely sacrificing mobility. The armor was composed of various interconnected pieces, each serving a specific function while together forming a comprehensive defense. As the young squire stepped into this new layer of training, he was introduced to the art of wearing and moving in armor, a skill that required patience and perseverance. The process of donning armor began with the gambeson, a quilted jacket worn close to the body. It was a crucial component, providing a padded layer that helped absorb and distribute the impact of blows. Over this, chainmail was often worn, a mesh of interlinked metal rings that offered flexibility while protecting against cuts. Finally, the squire learned to wear the plate armor, a series of metal plates carefully designed to cover the vital areas of the body. Each piece of the armor was fastened with straps and buckles, a ritual that in itself demanded precision and care. As the squire grew accustomed to the weight of the armor, he began to understand the discipline it imposed. The armor was heavy, often weighing upwards of 20 kilograms, and its weight was not distributed evenly. This required strength and endurance, as well as a keen awareness of balance. To counteract this, squires engaged in exercises designed to build the necessary physical resilience. These included running and jumping drills, as well as more focused activities such as lifting and carrying weights, which helped to develop the muscles needed to bear the armor with ease. Movement in armor was an art unto itself. The armor restricted certain motions, necessitating adaptations in the way a knight moved. The squire learned to walk with a rolling gait, shifting his weight smoothly from one foot to the other. He practiced ducking and weaving, becoming adept at using his entire body to absorb and deflect incoming blows. Every movement was deliberate, each step a calculated effort to maintain poise and control. Over time, the squire learned to move with a grace that belied the cumbersome nature of his armor, a testament to the discipline and dedication instilled in him through years of training. Another vital aspect of training was the development of spatial awareness. The helmet, often with a narrow visor, limited peripheral vision and muffled sound. This heightened the squire's reliance on other senses and intuition, teaching him to anticipate his opponent's moves and react swiftly. Exercises in the practice yard were designed to hone these skills, involving mock battles and games that tested reflexes and reaction times. It is worth noting that the armor was not merely a tool of war, but also a mark of status and identity. Each piece was meticulously crafted and often personalized with heraldic symbols representing the knight's lineage and allegiance. The squire learned to care for his armor, a task that involved regular cleaning and maintenance to prevent rust and ensure its integrity. This ritual of care was an important lesson in responsibility, instilling a sense of pride and respect for the equipment that protected him. The discipline required to master the art of wearing armor extended beyond the physical. It was a mental challenge as much as it was a corporeal one. The squire learned to endure discomfort and fatigue, to maintain focus and composure under pressure. It was a test of patience and perseverance, shaping not only the body but also the mind. In many ways, the training in armor was a metaphor for the life of a knight. It required a balance of strength and dexterity, of discipline and adaptability. The armor was both a burden and a shield, a reminder of the weight of responsibility that came with the privilege of knighthood. As the squire progressed in his training, he came to embody the very qualities the armor represented: fortitude, honor, and resilience. Thus, the journey of mastering armor was not merely about learning to wear it, but rather about understanding the deeper lessons it imparted. It was a pathway to self-discovery, a means of forging character and cultivating the virtues that defined a true knight. In this way, the armor became a symbol of the knight's journey, a silent testament to the discipline and dedication that lay at the heart of the chivalric code. In the dimly lit confines of a medieval castle, where stone walls stood as silent witnesses to the passage of centuries, a young squire was quietly instructed in the art of war. These lessons, imparted with solemnity and care, went beyond the mere mastery of weapons. They were the keys to understanding the vast and complex dance of tactics and strategy that defined medieval warfare. The essence of these teachings lay not in the heat of battle, but in the coolness of the mind, in the ability to plan, anticipate, and adapt. Imagine, if you will, The squire standing on the ramparts, gazing out over the verdant landscape that stretched beyond the castle's protective embrace. This was his classroom, the world his textbook. The fields and forests, rivers and hills each played a part in the strategic tapestry that a seasoned knight needed to comprehend. The young squire learned to read the land, as a scholar reads a manuscript, discerning the subtle nuances of terrain that could shape the outcome of a conflict. A gentle rise in the land could provide a vantage point. A dense forest might serve as cover or concealment. A river could be both a barrier and a lifeline. Tactics, they explained, were the maneuvers of the moment, the immediate actions that turned the tide of battle. Strategy, on the other hand, was the grand design, the overarching plan that guided those actions. To be skilled in both was to hold the balance of victory. The squire was encouraged to think several moves ahead, much like a player of chess, a game that itself mirrored the complexities of war. He learned that anticipation was as vital as reaction, for the battlefield was as much a place of the mind as it was of the body. In the quiet of the training yard, away from the clatter of swords and the thud of shields, the squire was taught to observe. He watched the seasoned knights, noting how they evaluated a situation with swift, practiced eyes. They taught him to pay heed to the smallest details, shadows lengthening as the sun dipped, the direction of the wind, the formation of birds in the sky, all subtle signals that could offer insight into the intentions of friend and foe alike. The squire also learned the importance of communication. On the battlefield, where chaos reigned and the din could drown out even the loudest shout, signals became a language of their own. A raised lance, a banner unfurled, the call of a horn, all conveyed orders and intentions. Understanding and executing these signals with precision were essential skills, for they ensured cohesion amid the confusion. The young squire was taught to appreciate the value of patience and timing. Rushing into a skirmish without due consideration could lead to disaster. Sometimes, the greatest act of courage was to wait, to hold a position until the right moment presented itself. It was a lesson in restraint, in the quiet power of discipline over impulse. As the squire absorbed these lessons, he began to understand the larger picture, the interconnectedness of each element of warcraft. He saw how the individual skills he had honed, riding, swordplay, archery, were pieces of a larger puzzle. Each skill was a tool, and the true art lay in knowing when and how to wield them in harmony with one another. The knights who taught him often spoke with reverence of the great battles of history, where tactics and strategy had been displayed with brilliance. They recounted tales of famous commanders who had turned the tide of seemingly hopeless situations through cunning and insight. These stories were not merely entertainment. They were lessons in the potential of the human mind to overcome adversity. In the stillness of the night, as the squire lay in his chamber, he would reflect on these teachings. He understood that the path to knighthood was not merely about physical prowess, but the cultivation of a keen and agile mind. The lessons in tactics and battlefield awareness were, in essence, lessons in life itself. A reminder that every decision, no matter how small, could ripple outwards, influencing the course of events in ways unseen. In time, the young squire would become a knight, stepping into the world with a greater understanding of the delicate balance between strength and wisdom. He would carry with him the knowledge that the true battlefield was not limited to the clash of arms, but was present in every challenge and choice he encountered. And in this realization, he would find the quiet confidence to navigate the complexities of life, as had countless knights before him. In the quiet, candle-lit halls of medieval nobility, where tapestries hung heavy with the weight of history, a squire's education was not confined to the clash of steel or the thunder of hooves. Amongst the hushed whispers of courtiers and the gentle rustle of fine fabrics, the rituals of courtly conduct unfolded, a tapestry of its own, woven with threads of etiquette, diplomacy, and subtlety. Imagine, if you will, a young squire standing at the edge of a great hall. The air is filled with a gentle hum of conversation, punctuated by the occasional clink of a goblet being set down. Here, amid the grandeur of the court, the squire learns to navigate the intricate dance of social interaction, a skill as vital as any learned in the practice yard. The ability to move through these spaces with grace and understanding was an unspoken art, one that required an acute awareness of one's surroundings and an appreciation for the subtleties of human behavior. The rituals of courtly conduct begin with the simplest of gestures, a bow, a nod, a courteous word. Each movement is deliberate, a reflection of the respect one must show to those of higher status. The squire observes the knights and nobles, noting the deference given to the lords and ladies, the way a hand is offered to guide a lady to her seat, the precise angle of a bow when greeting a person of importance. These gestures, though seemingly minor, are laden with meaning, and mastering them is a testament to one's understanding of the hierarchy and customs of the court. As the squire delves deeper into the world of courtly manners, the lessons grow more complex. There is a language to be learned, not of words, but of gestures and glances. A fleeting eye contact, a subtle shift in posture, the timing of a smile. All these convey messages as clear to those who understand them as any spoken word. In this realm, silence can speak volumes, and a single raised eyebrow can change the course of a conversation. Mealtimes at the court offer a rich tapestry for the squire's education. The dining hall is a stage upon which the drama of social interaction plays out. Here, the placement of guests speaks of alliances and favor. The sharing of a dish can signify camaraderie or kinship, and the manner in which one eats reflects not only personal refinement, but also respect for the host. The squire learns that every bite, every sip, is an opportunity to demonstrate self-control and awareness. Beyond the dining hall, the squire is introduced to the art of conversation. Courtly dialogue is an exercise in wit and diplomacy, a careful balance between honesty and tact. The squire learns to listen more than speak, to weigh each word before it is uttered, to engage in repartee without giving offense. In this world, words are tools, wielded with precision to build alliances, diffuse tensions, or entertain an audience. There are lessons, too, in the art of storytelling, a valued skill at any gathering. A well-told tale can captivate an audience, forge connections, and convey values or lessons in a manner both engaging and memorable. The squire observes the storytellers, noting the rise and fall of their voices, the dramatic pauses that hold listeners in suspense, the way they draw their audience into the world of their narrative. Each story is a performance, an offering to the court, and the ability to tell a tale becomes a mark of one's education and understanding. In the quieter moments, away from the gaze of the court, the squire reflects on the lessons learned. These rituals of conduct are not mere formalities. They are the framework upon which the society of the court is built. They are a means of maintaining order, of showing respect, of ensuring that even amidst the complexities of power and politics, there is a shared understanding, a common language that binds all members of the court. The rituals of courtly conduct are, in essence, a reflection of the values held dear by the society. They speak of honor and respect, of the importance of appearances and reputation, of the delicate balance between individuality and conformity. For the squire, mastering these rituals is more than a matter of survival in the courtly world. It is a gateway to understanding the very fabric of the society he is to serve. As the evening draws to a close and the candles burn low, the squire retires to his quarters, the echoes of the court still lingering in his mind. The lessons of the day, though subtle, have left their mark. With each encounter, each gesture, he steps closer to understanding the world he is a part of, a world where the rituals of courtly conduct guide the dance of life, a dance he is learning to perform with increasing grace and understanding. In the gentle embrace of the medieval landscape, where the tapestry of green fields met the edge of vast, whispering woods, a young squire would often find himself venturing into the realm of hunting. This was not merely a pursuit of game, but rather a profound exercise in cultivating awareness and honing the myriad skills that would one day define him as a knight. The woodlands and meadows, alive with the rustling of leaves and the distant call of a deer, served as an open classroom. Here, the squire was taught to blend in with nature, to move as silently as the shadows cast by the ancient trees. It was a lesson in humility, to realize that in the natural order of things one must first observe and understand before attempting to master. As we imagine our squire, let's consider the tools of his trade. Equipped with a bow, a quiver of arrows, and perhaps a small knife, he learned to navigate the terrain with a keen eye and a steady hand. The bow, an extension of his arm, required not only physical strength, but a mind attuned to the subtleties of tension and release. Each arrow loosed was a testament to his growing precision, a physical manifestation of focus and intent. The act of stalking prey demanded patience, a quality that could not be rushed or faked. The squire would learn to read the signs of the forest, a broken twig, a patch of disturbed earth, the faintest trace of a scent carried on the wind. These clues, subtle and easily overlooked by the untrained eye, spoke volumes to those who knew how to listen. Through them, he practiced the art of anticipation, predicting the movements of his quarry with a combination of logic and intuition. In this natural theater, the squire also honed his ability to adapt, for no two hunts were ever the same. The behavior of animals, influenced by the changing seasons, weather conditions, and the presence of other creatures, required him to think on his feet. Such adaptability would serve him well on the battlefield, where unpredictability was a constant companion. However, hunting was not solely a physical endeavor. It was also a test of the mind, a challenge to maintain composure under pressure. The thrill of the chase could easily lead to excitement and haste, but the successful hunter learned to channel these emotions into calm determination. This discipline of mind, the ability to remain unflustered and focused, was a crucial lesson that transcended the hunt and permeated all aspects of a knight's training. Moreover, hunting was a solitary pursuit that encouraged introspection. In the quiet moments between action, the squire might find himself contemplating his place within the world. The forest, with its ancient trees and timeless rhythms, offered a space for reflection, a chance to ponder the interconnectedness of life. Such contemplation nurtured a sense of respect and responsibility, not only towards nature, but also towards fellow human beings. As the squire became more adept, he might be entrusted with leading a small hunting party. This aspect of the hunt introduced him to leadership and the dynamics of teamwork. He learned to communicate silently with gestures, to coordinate movements with precision, and to make decisions that balanced the needs of the group with the demands of the hunt. These experiences mirrored the leadership roles he would later assume as a knight, where the well-being of his comrades would often rest upon his shoulders. In the hunt, there was also a lesson in acceptance of success and failure alike. Not every pursuit ended with a successful catch, and the squire learned to take these moments in stride. A missed target was not a defeat, but an opportunity for growth, a chance to analyze what went amiss and how he might improve. This mindset of continual learning and resilience was vital for the challenges that lay ahead in his journey towards knighthood. Finally, it is worth noting that hunting fostered a deeper connection to the land. Through the cycles of pursuit and harvest, the squire gained an appreciation for the abundance and the fragility of life. He learned to honor the creatures he hunted, recognizing them as part of a greater whole. This respect for nature was a reflection of the chivalric code, a commitment to protect and cherish those who could not defend themselves. In the quiet retreat of the forest, amidst the rustle of leaves and the soft tread of his boots upon the earth, the squire found more than just the skills necessary for knighthood. He discovered the essence of what it meant to be truly aware of his surroundings, of his strengths and limitations, and of the broader tapestry of life itself. Through hunting, he was not merely preparing for battle, he was shaping his character, nurturing the qualities that would one day define him as a knight of honor and respect. And so, the forest, with its secrets and its silence, became both a mentor and a mirror, reflecting back to the squire the best and the most challenging parts of himself, guiding him gently on his path to becoming more than just a warrior, but a custodian of the chivalric values that would lead him through the rest of his days. In the gentle tapestry of a medieval squire's journey, there comes a time when the lessons in endurance, patience, and the quiet hardening of character begin to weave themselves into the very fabric of his existence. This chapter, often less remarked upon by the grand chroniclers of history, holds the subtle strength that fortifies a young squire, preparing him for the demanding path ahead. Endurance, in its simplest form, is the ability to withstand the tests of time and circumstance. For a squire, this was not merely a physical trial, but an emotional and mental conquest as well. The days were long and filled with tasks that might appear mundane to the untrained observer, carrying armor, tending to horses, and maintaining the knight's equipment. Yet beneath these repetitive duties lay lessons in resilience. Each action, though seemingly small, was a building block for greater challenges. Consider, for a moment, the act of polishing a suit of armor. The squire would spend hours ensuring every surface gleamed, his fingers tracing the curves and joints of metal with care. It was a task demanding not just physical exertion, but also focus and dedication. The rhythm of such work allowed the mind to wandering the world beyond the walls of the castle, the nature of duty and the essence of loyalty. The nature of duty and the essence of loyalty was where endurance was quietly nurtured. Patience, too, played its part. In a world that moved with the seasons and the cyclical nature of harvests and hunts, a squire learned to wait. Whether waiting for his knight to return from a campaign or awaiting the day he would finally be deemed ready for knighthood, patience was a constant companion. It was a quiet teacher, whispering that some things cannot be rushed, that growth often happens unseen, like the roots of a mighty oak spreading beneath the earth. In the stillness of waiting, there was room for reflection. A squire might find himself contemplating the stories of knights who had walked the path before him, tales of honor and sacrifice, of bravery and humility. These stories, passed down through generations, were more than mere entertainment. They were lessons in virtue and the essence of knightly conduct. In them, the squire discovered that patience was not passive, but an active practice of holding space for the right moment to emerge. The quiet hardening of character was an inevitable result of these lessons in endurance and patience. It was not a hardening in the sense of becoming unyielding or harsh, but rather a strengthening of the inner self, like the tempering of steel to make it both strong and flexible. This inner fortitude was essential, for a knight would face many trials on and off the battlefield that required more than just physical prowess. Through the practice of endurance and patience, the squire also learned to navigate the complexities of human nature. Living within the microcosm of a noble household, he observed the interactions between knights, lords, and servants. He saw how decisions were made, how conflicts were resolved, and how alliances were formed. These observations were invaluable, teaching him the subtleties of leadership and diplomacy, skills that would serve him well in his future role. The quiet hardening was also about learning to balance the demands of duty with the needs of the self. It involved understanding when to push forward and when to rest, when to speak and when to listen. It was about finding harmony between the inner and outer worlds, between the expectations of others and one's own desires and aspirations. As the squire matured, this hardening of character manifested in a calm confidence. He began to move through the world with a sense of purpose, his actions measured and deliberate. This was not the brash confidence of youth, but a deeper assurance born of experience and reflection. It was the kind of confidence that inspired trust in others, a quiet strength that drew people to him. In this chapter of a squire's life, we see that the journey to knighthood is not merely about acquiring skills or achieving external accolades. It is, at its core, an inner journey, a transformation that prepares the young squire to carry the weight of armor and the greater weight of responsibility. This transformation is both subtle and profound, a testament to the enduring power of patience and the quiet hardening of character. As we reflect on these lessons, we might find parallels in our own lives. In an age where immediacy often takes precedence, the virtues of endurance and patience remind us of the value of time and the beauty of steady growth. The quiet hardening of character speaks to the importance of resilience and the strength found in gentle fortitude. Thus, the squire's journey continues, shaped by the quiet, persistent forces of endurance, patience, and inner strength. These are the lessons that endure, the lessons that prepare him for the solemn moment when he will stand as a knight, ready to serve with honor and grace. And so, in the stillness of night or the gentle light of dawn, we pause to appreciate the quiet strength within us all, nurtured by the patience and endurance of our own life's journey. In the quiet corridors of medieval life, the bond between a mentor and a young squire was akin to that of an artist carefully sculpting a block of marble, revealing the noble figure hidden within. As we consider the mentor's influence, we find ourselves drawn into a world where patience, guidance, and quiet wisdom were the tools of choice, shaping not just warriors, but men of honor and principle. The relationship between a mentor and a squire was one of profound significance, rooted deeply in trust and mutual respect. The mentor, often an experienced knight, was not merely a teacher of combat techniques or chivalric codes, but a living embodiment of the ideals to which the young squire aspired. In the presence of his mentor, the squire learned more than the art of war. He absorbed the subtleties of leadership, the importance of integrity, and the quiet strength required to shoulder responsibility. In this ancient dance of teaching and learning, the mentor's influence began with observation. The squire, Keen-eyed and eager, watched his mentor navigate the complexities of life with a grace that spoke volumes. Each gesture, each decision, and each interaction was a lesson in itself, offering insights into the nuanced world of knightly conduct. It was through these observations that the young squire began to understand that true strength lay not in brute force, but in the ability to wield power with restraint and wisdom. The mentor's role was also one of gentle correction. When the squire stumbled, as all students do, it was the mentor's steady hand that guided him back onto the path. Mistakes were met not with harsh reprimands, but with patient explanation and encouragement. In this way, the mentor cultivated a safe space for learning, where the squire could grow in confidence and skill, unafraid of failure. This nurturing environment fostered resilience, teaching the squire that persistence and humility were as vital as courage and skill. Beyond martial training, the mentor introduced the squire to the world of ideas and ethics. Together, they explored the chivalric virtues, courage, justice, mercy, generosity, faith, nobility, and hope. These were not mere words to be memorized, but principles to be lived. The mentor, through both word and deed, demonstrated how these ideals could be woven into the fabric of daily life. The squire learned that to be a knight was not simply to fight, but to serve, to protect, and to uplift those around him. The mentor's influence extended to the realm of personal conduct and decision-making. In quiet conversations by the hearth or during long rides through the countryside, the mentor shared stories of past battles, political intrigues, and personal dilemmas. These tales were laced with wisdom, offering the young squire a treasure trove of guidance for the challenges he would one day face. Through these narratives, the mentor subtly imparted lessons on discernment, empathy, and the importance of listening to one's own conscience. It is important to note that the mentor, too, was enriched by this relationship. In guiding the squire, the mentor revisited his own journey, reflecting on past choices and reaffirming his commitment to the chivalric code. This reciprocal relationship created a bond of mutual growth, where both mentor and squire emerged stronger and wiser from their shared experiences. As we ponder the mentor's influence, we are reminded of the enduring impact of human connection. The bond between mentor and squire was a sacred trust, a partnership founded on the belief that knowledge and character could be passed from one generation to the next. It was a testament to the power of example, the quiet strength of patience, and the transformative potential of guidance offered with love and respect. In this gentle weaving of lives, we find a serene truth. The most profound lessons are often those taught not through words alone, but through the silent, steadfast presence of one who believes in the potential of another. And so the young squire, shaped by the steady influence of his mentor, began to take his first steps towards becoming a knight, carrying with him the lessons of honor, duty, and the quiet power of a guiding hand. In the quiet corners of the medieval landscape, a young squire stands on the precipice of transformation. The journey from page to squire had been marked by gradual shifts, each step forward a small but significant ripple in the vast pond of his life. Now, as he stands at the edge of this final metamorphosis, he is enveloped by a profound sense of anticipation and introspection. This is the long preparation for knighthood, a journey not merely of skill and knowledge, but of spirit and identity. The years preceding this moment have been filled with unyielding discipline and dedication. From the first lessons in courtesy to the rigors of the practice yard, each experience has been a building block, shaping the squire into the man he must become. It is a time for quiet reflection, where the echoes of past lessons resonate deeply within him, reminding him of the patience and perseverance that have brought him this far. As the Squire prepares for the looming transformation, he revisits the foundational principles that have guided him. The code of chivalry, once abstract concepts taught through stories and songs, now courses through his veins. Honor, loyalty, bravery. These are no longer just words, but the very essence of his being. He understands that knighthood is not about personal glory, but about serving a greater good, a commitment to uphold the values that bind the fabric of the society he serves. In these moments of preparation, the Squire's mind often drifts to the knights who have come before him. He recalls the tales of legendary figures, their deeds immortalized in the annals of history. Yet, within these stories lies not only inspiration, but also a gentle reminder of the weight of responsibility that knighthood entails. The Squire contemplates the balance between the romantic ideal and the practical realities of a knight's life, a life where the pursuit of virtue often demands sacrifice and selflessness. The transition to knighthood is also a time of deeper personal reflection. The Squire considers the growth he has undergone, from the eager young page to the poised squire standing ready for the next chapter. He reflects on the mentors who have guided him, their teachings imprinted upon his character. These mentors, seasoned knights themselves, have imparted wisdom not just in the art of combat, but in the nuances of leadership, empathy, and understanding. Their influence is a testament to the importance of guidance and the enduring legacy of knowledge passed from one generation to the next. As the days of preparation unfold, the Squire immerses himself in the rituals that will soon cement his status as a knight. He revisits the practice yard, refining his techniques and honing his skills with renewed vigor. Each swing of the sword, each thrust of the lance, is executed with precision and intent, underscoring the commitment to mastery that defines a true knight. Yet beyond the physical, there is a mental readiness that must be achieved, a readiness to embrace the unknown challenges that lie ahead. The Squire also takes time for quiet contemplation, seeking solitude in the natural world that has been his silent companion throughout this journey. He finds solace in the whispering winds and rustling leaves, a reminder of the simplicity and purity that often eludes the complexities of human society. In these moments of stillness, he finds clarity and purpose, reaffirming the path he has chosen and the values he will uphold. As the final days of preparation draw near, the Squire is enveloped by a serene sense of anticipation. The culmination of years of dedication is not just an end, but a beginning, a new chapter in which he will carry forward the legacy of knighthood. The ceremony that awaits is not merely a formality, but a sacred rite of passage, marking the transition from student to guardian, from squire to knight. In this long preparation, the Squire realizes that knighthood is not an endpoint, but a continuous journey. It is an oath to a life of service, a commitment to strive for excellence in all endeavors. As he stands on the threshold of this transformative moment, he understands that the true measure of a knight lies not in the armor he dons or the battles he fights, but in the integrity of his character and the steadfastness of his heart. The long preparation for knighthood is both a culmination and a commencement, a profound journey that shapes not only the individual, but also the world they are sworn to protect. In embracing this new identity, the Squire steps forward with a quiet confidence, ready to face the challenges ahead with courage, wisdom, and unwavering resolve. And in this, he honors the timeless tradition of knighthood, becoming a beacon of hope and virtue in a world ever in need of such light. In the quiet embrace of the night, a young squire stands on the precipice of transformation. The air is thick with anticipation, yet carries a serene stillness, as if the world itself is holding its breath. This is the Vigil, a time-honored tradition that serves as both a rite of passage and a moment of profound introspection. For the squire, it is the eve of becoming a knight, a threshold crossing that has been years in the making. The Vigil begins as twilight fades into darkness, a time when the boundaries between the known and the unknown blur. The squire, clad in simple garments, enters the chapel. The flickering candles cast gentle shadows on the stone walls, their light dancing as if in silent celebration of the journey about to unfold. Here, amidst the quiet sanctity of the space, the squire kneels in contemplation, alone yet not lonely. This is a solitude filled with purpose, a chance to reflect on the path that has led to this moment. The Vigil is not merely a test of endurance, though it demands both physical and mental stamina. It is a time to ponder the meaning of knighthood, to weigh the responsibilities that come with the title. The squire considers the virtues of courage, honor, and compassion, pondering how these ideals will guide their actions in the years to come. The silence of the chapel is a canvas for such reflections, allowing thoughts to unfold slowly, like the unfurling of a banner in the gentle breeze. As the hours pass, the squire recalls the faces and voices of mentors and comrades. Each memory is a thread woven into the tapestry of their life, a reminder of the lessons learned and the challenges overcome. There is a sense of gratitude for those who have walked alongside, offering wisdom and support. These recollections are not mere nostalgia. They serve as a foundation upon which the squire will build a future, one grounded in the rich soil of experience and camaraderie. The night is long and unyielding, yet it offers the squire the gift of time to consider the personal sacrifices that lie ahead. A knight's life is one of duty and service, often marked by moments of solitude and sacrifice. The squire contemplates the balance between personal desires and the greater good, knowing that the path of chivalry is not always an easy one. The Vigil provides a space to reconcile these inner conflicts, to find peace in the knowledge that each choice made is a step towards fulfilling a larger purpose. There is a meditative quality to the Vigil as the squire becomes attuned to the rhythmic beating of their heart, a steady reminder of life and its relentless progression. In the quietude, every sound is magnified: the soft rustle of fabric, the distant hoot of an owl, the gentle sigh of the wind through the chapel's eaves. These sounds are companions in the stillness, grounding the squire in the present moment, while the mind wanders through the corridors of the past and the possibilities of the future. The Vigil is also a time for prayer, a communion with the divine that seeks guidance and strength. The squire offers up hopes and fears, asking for the courage to face whatever trials may come. This spiritual dimension of the Vigil imbues the knight with a sense of sacredness, reminding the squire that knighthood is not merely a worldly endeavor, but one that is deeply intertwined with the spiritual journey. As dawn approaches, the first light of day begins to seep through the stained glass windows, casting a kaleidoscope of colors upon the floor. The transition from night to day mirrors the squire's own transformation, a symbolic rebirth into the new role that awaits. The Vigil draws to a close, but its impact lingers, leaving an indelible mark on the squire's heart and mind. The squire rises from their knees, body stiff yet spirit fortified. There is a quiet confidence, a sense of readiness to embrace the responsibilities of knighthood. The Vigil has provided clarity and purpose, a moment of stillness before the dawn of a new chapter. It is a testament to the enduring power of reflection, a reminder that in the quiet moments of our lives, we often find the strength to face the challenges that lie ahead. And so, with the first rays of the sun heralding a new day, the Squire steps out of the chapel, leaving the Vigil behind but carrying its lessons forward. The path ahead is unknown, but in their heart, the Squire knows that they are prepared, guided by the light of the Vigil and the promise of what is to come. In the hushed halls of history, the ceremony of being made a knight stands as a moment of profound transition, akin to the gentle yet irrevocable transformation of night into dawn. It is a ritual steeped in tradition, an ancient choreography that has marked the passage from youthful aspiration to solemn duty for centuries. As we begin our exploration of this rite, let us imagine ourselves standing amidst the flickering candlelight, the air thick with the scent of incense and the quiet murmur of anticipation. For the young Squire, this ceremony is the culmination of years of dedicated service and rigorous training. It is a moment both personal and communal, where individual achievement is celebrated within the context of the broader tapestry of chivalric society. The night before, the Squire would have kept a vigil in the chapel, a solitary watch in silence and prayer. This vigil is a time of reflection, a chance to contemplate the weight of the responsibility soon to be shouldered. It is a night spent in the company of one's thoughts, under the watchful gaze of the stars, where the Squire considers the virtues of courage, loyalty, and honor that the coming day will demand. As dawn breaks, the Squire is ceremonially bathed, a symbolic cleansing that signifies the washing away of past transgressions and the readiness to assume a new role. This ritual bath is not merely a matter of physical cleanliness, it is an act of purification, a preparation of body and spirit for the sacred vows that lie ahead. The Squire then dons a simple white tunic representing purity and innocence, over which a red robe is placed, symbolizing the blood he may one day shed in the service of others. The ceremony itself is a solemn affair, typically held within the confines of a great hall or a cathedral, where the young Squire is surrounded by family, fellow knights, and the nobility he will serve. The atmosphere is one of reverence, the quiet hum of whispered prayers mingling with the soft rustle of silk and armor. At the heart of the ceremony is the oath, a pledge of fealty and service. The Squire kneels before the Lord or a senior knight, placing his hands within theirs, and swears to uphold the chivalric code. This oath is more than a mere formality. It is a binding commitment, a promise to live by the principles of honor, justice, and protection of the weak. The moment of knighting is marked by the laying on of hands, or, more traditionally, the Accolade, a light blow to the shoulder with the flat of a sword. This act, simple yet profound, is a symbolic bestowal of authority and responsibility. It is the touch that transforms, anointing the Squire with the mantle of knighthood, conferring upon him the rights and duties that accompany his new status. In this gesture, there is a recognition of the Squire's journey, the years of learning and service, and the potential for greatness that lies ahead. Following the Accolade, the newly minted knight receives his spurs and sword, emblems of his new station. The spurs, often gilded or silvered, represent the readiness to ride into battle, while the sword is a symbol of justice and protection. These are not mere accessories, but powerful reminders of the knight's duty to wield power with wisdom and restraint. As the sword is belted around the knight's waist, there is a palpable sense of the weight of expectation, the understanding that this blade is to be drawn only in the pursuit of righteousness. The ceremony concludes with a mass or a blessing, a spiritual fortification for the path ahead. As the new knight rises from his knees, there is a moment of quiet jubilation, a recognition of his achievement and the journey to come. He is now part of a brotherhood, a lineage that stretches back through the annals of time, bound by shared values and a common purpose. As we reflect on this ceremony, it becomes clear that knighthood is more than a title. It is a way of life, a commitment to ideals that transcend the individual. The ceremony of being made a knight is not just an end, but a beginning, the start of a lifelong quest for honor, virtue, and the betterment of society. In the stillness that follows as the new knight steps out into the world, we are reminded of the power of tradition to shape our lives, to guide us as we navigate the complexities of duty and desire. And so, we leave the great hall, the echoes of ancient vows still resonant in the air, carrying with us the wisdom and wonder of this timeless rite. As we drift into the gentle embrace of sleep, may we find inspiration in the courage and commitment of those who came before, and in the quiet promise of a new day. In the hushed glow of early morning, when the world is still kissed by the softness of dawn, the life of a knight unfurls with a sense of quiet purpose. The journey from eager page to squire, and finally to the revered status of knighthood, is not simply a tale of martial prowess and grandeur. It is a life defined by an intricate tapestry of duty, service, and restraint. As knights, these guardians of chivalry and protectors of the realm held a responsibility that transcended the mere wielding of sword and shield. It was a calling steeped in the ideals of loyalty and honor, where the true mettle of a knight was tested not only on the battlefield, but in the quiet moments of everyday life. The knight's duty extended beyond personal gain or glory. It was a pledge to uphold justice and to serve those who could not defend themselves. Imagine, if you will, the knight's role as akin to that of a steadfast lighthouse, a beacon amidst the tumultuous seas of medieval society. His presence brought a sense of stability and order, a living testament to the virtues of courage and mercy. In a world where allegiances could shift like the sands, a knight's word was his bond, his actions a reflection of his unwavering commitment to a greater cause. Service, too, was a cornerstone of the knightly path. It was manifested not only in the heat of battle, but also in the mundane tasks that filled a knight's day. From overseeing the lands entrusted to him by his liege lord to resolving disputes among villagers, a knight was both a warrior and a steward. His was a life dedicated to the well-being of his people, a life that required as much wisdom and patience as it did strength and valor. Yet, amid these grand responsibilities, there lay an often unspoken quality that defined the essence of knighthood: restraint. The ability to harness one's power and direct it with precision, to temper strength with compassion, was a skill as vital as any learnt on the training field. Restraint was the quiet force that ensured a knight's actions were guided by principle rather than impulse, by duty rather than personal vendetta. Throughout the annals of history, tales of knights who embodied this restraint abound. Consider the legendary figure of Sir Gawain, the noble knight of Arthurian lore. His tale, a delicate balance of courage and humility, served as a reminder of the importance of honor and the consequences of pride. In facing the mysterious Green Knight, Gawain learned that true bravery lay not in the force of his arm, but in his adherence to truth and integrity. In daily life, This restraint translated into a careful management of resources, both material and human. A knight's armory was not just a collection of weapons, but a custodian of the tools needed to protect and serve. The care of horses, the maintenance of arms, and the welfare of his retinue demanded a disciplined approach, ensuring readiness without squandering the wealth of his household. Moreover, the emotional restraint of a knight was just as critical. The medieval world was one of stark contrasts, where the lines between friend and foe could blur in the blink of an eye. A knight had to navigate these complexities with a steady heart and a clear mind, never allowing personal animosities to cloud his judgment or compromise his duty. The life of a knight was thus one of constant balance between strength and compassion, duty and personal desire, action and contemplation. It was a life that required a profound awareness of the interconnectedness of all things, a recognition that every choice made rippled through the fabric of society. Evenings in the life of a knight often brought time for reflection and spiritual contemplation, where the day's events could be considered with a sense of introspection. These moments of solitude were as essential as the clashing of swords in the practice yard, providing the mental fortitude needed to face the trials of the morrow. In the grand scheme of the medieval world, knights stood as symbols of the ideals that society aspired to embody. Their lives were not perfect, nor were they free from the flaws and challenges that beset all humans. However, it was their relentless pursuit of honorable living that left an indelible mark on history, inspiring generations to come. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the land, a knight's day would draw to a close with the same quiet dignity with which it began. The tasks completed, the duties fulfilled, and the promise of a new dawn on the horizon. In this cycle of service and restraint, the knight found not only his role in society, but also his place within the vast, unfolding story of humanity itself. In the quiet of the evening, as the sun dips below the horizon and shadows stretch across the land, we find ourselves contemplating the journey of a knight. A life meticulously shaped by discipline and duty, woven with the threads of honor, courage, and restraint. It is a tapestry of experiences, each moment contributing to the knight's steadfast character. The life of a knight is, in many ways, a study in the art of balance. A balance between strength and gentleness, between the demands of duty and the whispers of personal desire. It is a path that begins in the innocence of youth, where dreams of valor and gallantry spark the imagination. From the tender age of a page through the trials of a squire to the solemn mantle of knighthood, this journey is marked by a series of lessons, each one chiseling away at the rough stone to reveal the noble form beneath. Discipline, in this context, is not merely a set of rules or routines. It is a way of life, a lens through which the world is viewed. It becomes the rhythm of existence, as natural as the rising and setting of the sun. For a knight, discipline is found in the precision of a sword strike, the endurance of a long ride, the patience in waiting for the perfect moment. It is the quiet understanding that every action has a purpose, every decision a consequence. Imagine, if you will, the night in the early hours of dawn, when the world is still wrapped in silence. It is in these moments, before the stirrings of the day, that a knight often reflects upon the path they have chosen. The discipline that guides them is not a burden, but rather a source of strength and clarity. It allows them to greet each day with a calm resolve, ready to face whatever challenges may arise. There is a certain peace to be found in such a life, a peace that comes from knowing one's place in the world, from being assured in one's purpose. The knight's discipline is a constant companion, offering reassurance amidst uncertainty, a beacon in the swirling fog of life's complexities. It is a reminder that through discipline, one can achieve a harmony with the world around them, a harmony that resonates through every action and thought. And yet, this discipline is not a solitary endeavor. It is nurtured by the bonds formed with others, by the shared experiences and mutual respect forged in the heat of training and the quiet moments of companionship. The knight's life is enriched by these connections, each one adding to the strength of their character, each one a testament to the power of unity and shared purpose. In reflecting on such a life, we might consider the lessons it holds for us, even in our modern world. The virtues of a knight, though born of a different time, still hold relevance today. Discipline, like a gentle hand, guides us towards our true potential. It teaches us to approach life with patience and mindfulness, to find joy in the process rather than the outcome. As we ponder these thoughts, let us allow ourselves a moment of stillness, a moment to breathe deeply and let the calmness of the knight's journey wash over us. Like the gentle flow of a stream, let the discipline of a knight inspire a sense of peace within us, a reminder that through structure and intent, we too can find balance and fulfillment. In this quiet reflection, there is an invitation to embrace the simplicity of being, to acknowledge the beauty in a life lived with intention, where each step is taken with care and each choice weighed with consideration. The knight's life, built upon discipline, offers a gentle reminder that through dedication and perseverance, we can navigate the complexities of our own journeys with grace. Let us carry these reflections with us as we drift into the soft embrace of slumber. May the echoes of a knight's discipline guide our dreams, and may we awaken with a renewed sense of purpose and peace. For in the quiet strength of a disciplined life, there is a profound wisdom that speaks to us all, if only we take the time to listen.